It's Today is April the 20th, 2019. I am Imani's bro, Bay. I am a Hebrew Muslim of Moorish descent. And today I'll be reading the Holy Quran of Mecca and the Holy Quran Chapter 7. First I'll be reading the Fatiha. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of the Day of Requital. Thee do we serve, and thee do we beseech for help. Guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not those upon whom wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray. Hey Mom, can you put the pan on the eye, and then put it on medium low? Thank you. Alright, so now I'll be continuing where I left off on Chapter 2, Section 24, Fighting in Defense. They ask thee of the new moons. Say, they are times appointed for men, and for the pilgrimage, and it is not righteousness that you enter the houses by their backs. But he is righteous who keeps his duty, and go into the houses by their doors, and keep your duty to Allah, that you may be successful, and fight in the way of Allah against those who fight against you. But be not aggressive. Surely Allah loves not the aggressors. And kill them whenever you find them, and drive them out from where they drove you out. And persecution is worse than slaughter. And fight not with them at the sacred mosque until they fight with you in it. So if they fight you in it, slay them. Such is the recompense of the disbelievers. But if they desist, then surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. You fight them until there is no persecution, and religion is only for Allah. But if they desist, then there should be no hostility except against the oppressors. A sacred month. For the sacred month, the retaliation is allowed in sacred things. Whoever then acts aggressively against you, inflict injury on him according to the injury he has inflicted on you, and keep your duty to Allah, and know that Allah is with those who keep your duty. And spend in the way of Allah, and cast not yourselves to perdition with your own hands, and do good to others. Surely Allah loves the doers of good. And accomplish the pilgrimage and the visit for Allah. But if you are prevented, send whatever offering is easy to obtain, and shave not your heads until the offering reaches its destination. And whoever among you is sick, or has an ailment of the head, he may effect a compensation by fasting or alms or sacrificing. And when you are secure, whoever profits by combining the visit with the pilgrimage should take whatever offering is easy to obtain. But he who cannot find an offering should fast for 3 days during the pilgrimage, and for 7 days when you return, and for 10 days. These are 10 days complete. This is for him whose family is not present in the sacred mosque. And keep your duty to Allah. Know that Allah is severe in requiting evil. Section 25. The Pilgrimage. The months of the pilgrimage are well known, so whoever determines to perform pilgrimage, therein there shall be no immodest speech, nor abusing, nor altercation in the pilgrimage. And whatever good you do, Allah knows it, and make provision for yourselves. The best provision being to keep one's duty, and keep your duty to me, O men of understanding. It is no sin for you that you seek the bounty of your Lord. So when you press on from Arafat, remember Allah near the holy monument, and remember him as he has guided you. Though before you were certainly of the erring ones. Then hasten on from where the people hasten on, and ask thee for forgiveness of Allah. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. And when you have performed your devotions, laud Allah as you lauded your fathers, rather a more hearty lauding. But there are some people who say, Our Lord, give us in the world, and for such there is no portion in the hereafter. And there are some among them who say, Our Lord, grant us good in this world, and good in the hereafter, and save us from the chastisement of the fire. For those there is a portion on account of what they have earned, and Allah is swift in reckoning. And remember Allah during the appointed days. Then whoever hasten off in 2 days, it is no sin for him, and whoever stays behind, it is no sin for him. For one who keeps his duty, and keep your duty to Allah, you know that you will be gathered together to him. And of men is he whose speech about the life of this world pleases thee, and he calls Allah to witness as to that which is in his heart, and yet he is the most violent of adversaries. And when he holds authority, he makes effort in the land to cause mischief in it, and destroy tilth and offspring, and Allah loves not mischief. And when it is said to him, Be careful of thy duty to Allah, pride carries him off to sin, so hell is sufficient for him, and certainly evil is the resting place. And of men is he who sells himself to seek the pleasure of Allah, and Allah is compassionate to the servants. O you who believe, enter into complete peace, and follow not the footsteps of the devil, surely he is your open enemy. But if you slip after clear arguments have come to you, then know that Allah is mighty, wise. They wait for naught, but that Allah should come to them in the shadows of the clouds with angels. And the matter has already been decided, and to Allah are all the matters returned. Section 26, Trials and Tribulations. Ask of the children of Israel, how many a clear sign we gave them, and whoever changes the favor of Allah after it has come to them, and surely Allah is severe in requiting evil. The life of this world is made to seem fair to those who disbelieve, and they mock those who believe, and those who keep their duty will be above them on the day of resurrection, and Allah gives to whom He pleases without measure. Mankind is a single nation. So Allah raised prophets as bearers of good news and as warners, and He revealed with them the book with truth, that it might judge between people concerning that it which they differed. And none but the very people who were given it differed about it after clear arguments had come to them, envying one another. So Allah has guided by His will those who believe to the truth about which they differ, and Allah guides whom He pleases to the right path. Or do you think that you will enter the garden while there has not yet befallen you the like of what befell those who have passed away before you? Distress and affliction befell them, and they were shaken violently, so that the messenger and those who believed with him said, When will the help of Allah come? Now surely the help of Allah is nigh. They ask thee as to what they should spend. Say, whatever wealth you spend, it is for the parents and near of kin, and the orphans, and the needy, and the wayfarer. And whatever good you do, Allah surely is knower of it. Fighting is enjoined on you, though it is disliked by you. And it may be that you dislike a thing, while it is good for you. And it may be that you love a thing, while it is evil for you. And Allah knows, while you know not. Section 27. Miscellaneous questions. They ask thee about fighting in the sacred month. Say, fighting in it is a grave offense, and hindering men from Allah's way, and denying him in his sacred mosque, and turning its people out of it, are still graver with Allah, and persecution is graver than slaughter. And they will not cease fighting you until they turn you back from your religion, if they can. And whoever of you turns back from his religion, then he dies while an unbeliever. These it is whose works go for nothing in this world and the hereafter, and they are the companions of the fire. Therein they will abide. Those who believe, and those who fled their homes, and strove hard in Allah's way, these surely hope for the mercy of Allah, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. They ask thee about intoxicants and games of chance. Say, in both of them is a great sin, and some advantage for men, and their sin is greater than their advantage. And they ask thee as to what they should spend. Say, but you can spare. Thus does Allah make clear to you the messages that you may ponder on this world and the hereafter. And they ask thee concerning the orphans. Say, to set right their affairs is good, and if you mix with them, they are your brethren. And Allah knows him who makes mischief from him who sets right. And if Allah pleased, he would have made matters difficult for you. Surely Allah is mighty, wise. And marry not the idolatress until they believe. And certainly a believing maid is better than an idolatress, even though she please you. Nor give believing women in marriage to idolaters until they believe. And certainly a believing slave is better than an idolater, even though he please you. These invite to the fire, and Allah invites to the garden, and to forgiveness by his will. And he makes clear his messages to men, and they may be mindful. Section 28. Divorce. And they ask thee about menstruation. Say, it is harmful, so keep aloof from women during menstrual discharge, and go not near them until they are clean. But when they have cleansed themselves, go into them as Allah has commanded you. Surely Allah loves those who turn much to him, and he loves those who purify themselves. Your wives are a tilth for you, so go into your tilth when you like, and send good beforehand for yourselves, and keep your duty to Allah, and know that you will meet him, and give good news to the believers. And make not Allah by your oaths a hindrance to your doing good, and keeping your duty, and making peace between men. And Allah is hearing, knowing. Allah will not call you to account for what is vain in your oaths, and he will call you to account for what your hearts have earned. And Allah is forgiving, forbearing. Those who swear that they will not go into their wives should wait 4 months. Then if they go back, Allah is surely forgiving, merciful. And if they resolve on a divorce, Allah is surely hearing, knowing. And the divorced women should keep themselves in waiting for 3 courses, and it is not lawful for them to conceal that which Allah has created in their wombs. If they believe in Allah and the last day, and their husbands have a better right to take them back in the meanwhile, if they wish to for reconciliation. And women have rights similar to those against them in a just manner, and men are a degree above them, and Allah is mighty, wise. Section 29. Divorce. Divorce may be pronounced twice. Then keep them in good fellowship, or let them go with kindness. And it is not lawful for you to take any part of what you have given them, unless both fear that they cannot keep within the limits of Allah, And if you fear that they cannot keep within the limits of Allah, there is no blame on them for what she gives up to become free thereby. These are the limits of Allah, so exceed them not. And whoever exceeds the limits of Allah, these are the wrongdoers. So if he divorces her the third time, she shall not be lawful to him afterwards, until she marries another husband. And if he divorces her, there is no blame on them both if they return to each other by marriage, if they think that they can keep within the limits of Allah. And those are the limits of Allah, which He makes clear for people who know. And when you divorce women, and they reach their prescribed time, then retain them in kindness. Or set them free with kindness, and retain them not for injury, so that you exceed the limits. And whoever does this, he indeed wrongs his own soul. And take not Allah's message for a mockery. And remember Allah's favor to you, and that which He has revealed to you for the book, and the wisdom, admonishing you thereby, and keep your duty to Allah, and know that Allah is the knower of all things. Islam, I'll stop there in the Holy Quran of Mecca.
We need to write it down.
Next, I'm going to read the Holy Quran, Circle 7.
I know. You wanted the sacred ones? I'll take that with It's okay, it was just audio.
Alright, now I'll be continuing from the Circle 7 Quran, Chapter 30, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Social Duties. When thou considerest thy wants, when thou beholdest thy imperfections, acknowledge His goodness, O Son of Humanity, who honored thee with humanity, endowed thee with speech, placed thee in society, to receive and confer reciprocal helps and mutual obligations, protection from injuries, thy enjoyments of the comforts and the pleasures of life. All these thou owest to the assistance of others, and couldst not enjoy but in the bands of society. It is thy duty, therefore, to be a friend to mankind, as it is thy interest that man should be friendly to thee. As the rose breatheth sweetness from its own nature, so the heart of a benevolent man produceth good works. He enjoyeth the ease and tranquillity of his own breast, and rejoiceth in the happiness and prosperity of his neighbor. He openeth not his ear unto the slander. The faults and the failings of men give a pain to his heart. His desire is to do good, and he researcheth out the occasions thereof, and removing the oppressions of another, he relieveth himself from the largeness of his mind. He comprehendeth in his wishes the happiness of all men, and from the generosity of his heart he endeavoreth to promote it. Chapter 31, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Justice. The peace of society dependeth on justice, the happiness of individuals on the safe enjoyment of all their possessions. Keep the desires of thy heart, therefore, within the bounds of moderation. Let the hand of justice lead them aright. Cast not an evil eye on the goods of thy neighbor, Let whatever is his property be sacred from thy touch. Let no temptation allure thee, nor any provocation excite thee to lift up thy hand to the hazard of his life. Defame him not in his character. Bear no false witness against him. Corrupt not his servants, to teach or forsake him. And the wife of his bosom, O tempt not to sin. It will be a grief to his heart, which thou canst not relieve, an injury to his life, which no reparation can atone. In thy dealings with the men, be impartial and just, and do unto them as thou wouldest they should do unto thee. Be faithful to thy trust, and deceive not the man who relieth upon thee. Be assured, it is less evil in the sight of Allah to steal than to betray. Oppress not the poor, and defraud not of his hire the laboring man. When thou sellest for gain, hear the whispering of conscience, and be satisfied with moderation. Nor from the ignorance of thy buyer take any advantage. Pay the debts which thou owest, for he who gave thee credit relieth upon thy honor, and to withhold from him his due is both mean and unjust. Finally, O son of society, examine thy heart, call remembrance to thy aid, and if in any of these things thou hast transgressed, make a speedy reparation to the utmost of thy power. Chapter 32. Charity. Happy is the man who hath sown in his breast the seeds of benevolence. The produce thereof shall be charity and love. From the fountain of his heart shall rise rivers of goodness, and the streams shall overflow for the benefit of mankind. He assisteth the poor in their trouble. He rejoiceth in their furtherings the prosperity of all men. He censureth not his neighbor. He believeth not the tales of envy and malevolence. Neither repeateth he their slanders. He forgiveth the injuries of men. He wipeth them from his remembrance. Revenge and malice have no place in his heart. For evil he returneth not evil. He hateth not even his enemies, but requiteth their injustice with a friendly admonition. The griefs and anxieties of men excite his compassion. He endeavoureth to alleviate the weight of their misfortunes, and the pleasure of success rewardeth his labour. He calmeth the fury, he healeth the quarrels of angry men, and preventeth the mischiefs of strife and animosity. He promoteth in his neighbourhood peace and goodwill, and his name is repeated with praise and benedictions. Chapter 33. Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Gratitude. As the branches of a tree return their sap to the root, from whence it arose, as a river poureth its streams to the sea, whence the spring was supplied, so the heart of a grateful man delighteth in returning a benefit received. He acknowledgeth his obligation with cheerfulness. He looketh at his benefactor with love and esteem. And if to return it be not in his power, he nourisheth the memory of it in his breast of kindness. He forgetteth it not all the days of his life. The heart of the grateful man is like the clouds of heaven, which drops upon the earth fruits, herbage, and flowers. But the heart of the ungrateful is like a desert of sand, which swalloweth with greediness the showers that fall, and burieth them in its bosom, and produceth nothing. Envy not thy benefactor, neither strive to conceal the benefit he hath conferred, for thou to oblige is better than to be obliged. Though the act of generosity commandeth admiration, yet the humility toucheth the heart, and is amiable on the sight both of Allah and man. But receive not a favor from hand of the proud. To the selfish and avaricious have no obligation. The vanity of pride shall expose thee to shame. The greediness of avarice shall never be satisfied. That will be all that I'll be reading today. Today again is April the 20th, 2019. I am Arrington-Bey, and I am a Hebrew Muslim Worship. That's all.